Well, we're back with one of our favorite guests that we've had on from the very beginning of our radio days in Tampa and Orlando. She is someone who does not mince words for all the fools out there, that many of which are robots or disinfo paid trolls. Some of them are just low IQ, angry people with anonymous accounts on social media. She shreds them like carrots in a salad. We have Lavern Spicer. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, Dave, and thank you for inviting me on the show today.
I'm so glad to have you back because we always have great political breakdowns of whatever's going on in the news or political cycle with you whenever we bring you on. And I know that you've got a heart for charity, and we can talk about that and what's going on in your work down in South Florida. But I first wanted to get your take on the latest in the political race, which is the fallout from the vice presidential debate between J.D. Vance and Tim Walz. What did you think of that?
Before I answer that question, I just want to say, special prayers up for those people that are going through, that lost their loved ones in the Carolinas and Virginia and every Tennessee and everybody where else where the storm and then the northern
Yeah,
part of Florida, and I just want to say prayers up for everybody, and hopefully you'll be able to rebuild and restore everything that you have lost. So I wanted to say that. But to answer the question about the debate, I felt like it was very interesting watching that. It gave us a closer view, better look at JD Vance. I was really impressed with him. And I thought that both of them was very cordial, the way that, they answered the question. They didn't really like attack each other, but they gave us, the viewers, a chance to really listen to what they had to say. And they also gave them a chance to like clear up any situations, like that Hong Kong situation, which, you can't even clear that up, but at least they had the opportunity to do so.
yeah. Tim Walz has a strange build to him. He kind of just a strange countenance to him in his little face. He kind of puts those big eyes open real, looking like a deer in the headlight, and just a strange fella overall. But JD was really on point in terms of his rhetoric, was just sharp. I felt like he was really trying to put on, where Trump has got that dark edge. He doesn't care. He'll talk about grilling the cats live on television in front of 90 million people. JD tried to do the opposite, where he kind of says, look, it's all sweet and it's smooth and we just want to get along with everybody, and that was interesting. I don't know, to what extent that message is needed right now, given the temperature of the public right now. What do you think? Do we need to be civil with people who are hanging out with Comet Pizza people? I mean, should we be civil with those devils at Comet Pizza?
Well, I hate to answer a question with a question, but in a sense, that, oh God, it's my phone. That's like saying, should I be civil to those people that come on my page trying to cuss me out?
Yeah, yeah,
That's not about to happen, because I'm gonna give you what you give me. You know
right,
what I'm saying? Because some people need to know, they need to learn about, respect. And you can't come and say anything you want to anybody just because you feel that way.
right,
Some people gonna hit back. A lot of people gonna let it go, but other people are gonna really fight back.
right.
And
I think people want someone like Trump rhetorically, the way his rhetoric is. He doesn't play around with.
no, he's not gonna play with them. Trump
I
is
actually
not
thought he
gonna
was.
play with nobody that, and I admire
Yeah,
that. I totally admire people that are not
yeah,
afraid to stand up, because we're in a new type of day and age where
yeah,
you cannot just sit back and allow people to say anything that they want to say, and then laugh about it like it's funny, because this situation we are in right now, nothing is funny about it.
right.
Nothing is found funny about gender affirming surgeries.
Yeah, yeah. That's sick.
Is nothing is funny about a man putting on a dress because he's feel like he's a woman, you
Yeah,
know, and you have young kids in there So people don't, it's just a time to stand up and fight back and
Yeah.
not sit back and act like you agree with this demonic agenda, you know,
Yeah.
that's not right.
And Hillary still hasn't been asked why there's so many references of pizza and $50,000 hot dog purchases by the Obamas all over her emails. She still hasn't answered that question. Why does the word pizza show up in walnut sauce? Remember all that stuff?
Of
They ne-
course.
they never gave an account for that. And we're supposed to act like, oh, these are Mr. Rogers. Come on, let's shake hands. This is Mr. Rogers here, Tim Walz. No, Tim, if you're hanging out with people who want $50,000 walnut sauce, we're not going to be civil, okay? We're not going to be civil with that. We don't have time for that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And one question I was waiting on them to ask, which they did not ask,
Yeah.
I wanted to know, why did Tampon Timmy think that we need tampons in the boys' bathroom?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
one question I would like to know the answer to.
Well, look at Tim's picture of him with Alex Soros. That tells you everything you need to know. He sits like a good boy. He's really the quintessential, beta male loser who has sold this country down the drain, really. You know what I mean? Oh, I know how to. That's his facade is. Oh, I'm a tough guy. I can open up the hood of a truck, and that's what he uses as his facade that he is a strong man. In reality, that boy will bend over for whatever anybody who has power and influence and the oligarchs wants. And that's a man. It was so ironic. He was trying to frame it with Vance. He said, "I don't think Vance has the temperament to stand up to Donald Trump." And I thought it's interesting. Trump picks a guy who's got years of bashing him in his background,
Exactly.
and then Kamala picks
Exactly.
this weak beta male who hides his femininity behind being able to prop up a truck hood for a moment and tinker around with the AC filter or whatever it was he was messing with. And it's like, that's not going to cut it in this day and age. That's obvious that he is the yes man. They would trot him around like almost like a security animal, or a guide dog. Whenever Kamala would do an interview with one of her favorite out.
Yeah, exactly. One thing about JD Vance, he had a very tough and hard
Yeah.
upbringing. He had a mother that was addicted to drugs, so you can only imagine what
Yeah.
he's been through in his life. And sometimes those type of humble beginnings,
Yeah.
they shape you, they shape your view, they shape your emotions, they shape the way that you feel about situations. And of course, JD, like you say, he never he always said what he had to say so far as Trump was concerned.
Yeah.
And he never hid the fact that he didn't like him, but
Yeah.
yet and still Trump chose him. So
Right.
one thing about him, he's not going to sugarcoat anything.
Yeah.
Not going to run. He's been in the military, and he's a fighter.
Yeah.
The fighter. JD Vance is a fighter for this country, and
Yeah.
I think he did a really great job last night.
Yeah. One thing I'm concerned about, just in the bigger picture, is this neocons trying to get us into war with Iran. We can't afford that. That's Iraq. Iran is going to be Iraq on steroids, and we are much more depleted than we were in 2003 when we went into Iraq. So the idea that we could weather a conflict like that financially, economically, inflation wise, morale wise, oil market wise, all that stuff is absolutely insane. And I do hope that Trump and Vance can really, find their foundation, because both of them have always been, and they got to power by condemning these wicked wars by neocons and sick military industrial complex oligarchs. And I hope that they stand firm on that, because it looks like they're trying to box them in to force their hand to be compliant with some kind of broader Middle Eastern war, which would be insane.
You're absolutely right. And also keep in mind that these are the countries that our government has empowered. I mean, they
Yeah,
gave them the resources, they gave them the vehicles, the heavy duty artillery and everything they need to go to war against us.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Yeah, I just think that the way the media is trying to frame these attacks from Iran and Israel back and forth, that they're trying to box JD Vance and Trump into being forced to engage in a conflict there, which would be a disaster. And I don't want that to happen. I think that would be catastrophic for us.
And I agree.
Yeah. So what do you see as let's talk a little bit about, like you mentioned, the disaster relief. That's something that I think is very strange. We have what could be a Katrina level disaster, if not even wider in terms of the geographical damage. Uh, People are still not able to be accessed because they live in these mountain regions where they got to get helicopters and stuff to get to them, and there's no way to drive to them. And the government seems to be kind of saying, we're not talking about this. Of course, if this was under Trump and it was in a way, they would be wall to wall, 24/7 coverage, showcasing every person who is being left in a dangerous situation as we spend billions of dollars for Ukraine or whatever. But with this administration, it's as eerie quiet as if this massive catastrophe didn't happen. So bizarre, don't you think?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say, shout out to Trump and our governor, DeSantis, because both of them came to the rescue of those people. They went to Carolina and both of them bought supplies to help those people through. But they showed Joe Biden and he said he had a cold and he wouldn't be available till Friday.
Yeah,
And Kamala didn't say anything. And but they did say they didn't have the resources available to help or whatever, but they did come up with another 8 billion for Ukraine. So
yeah,
are these people really working for us, or
yeah,
are they working against us?
yeah. That the least interest they have seems to be for people in their own country. They have an absolute kind of disdain for their own people. And it's pretty transparent when you look at these things like this. If they really cared one iota and they had any ability to actually think with a critical mind and a heart for their people, they wouldn't act the way they do. And the debates, they touched on the hurricane so lightly, and then they spent like 30 minutes talking about January 6th. That tells you the priorities of the state media. They don't care about people. They don't care about whether you're hurt or not. They're not there for you to be able to survive a hurricane or get out of harm's way when there's a disaster like a flood. That's the least of their interest. They're there to get you to be a consumer, of big pharma products, a consumer of sending your kids to wars, a consumer to take all the drugs and garbage seed oil food they put in everything. They don't really care about your livelihood or your safety at all, especially if you're an American citizen.
Yeah, that's so true. And for many years, everything was considered to be what was they call it? A conspiracy theory.
Yeah, right.
Everything was a conspiracy theory. But now we are finding out that so much is actually true. And
Yeah.
one thing that Trump said recently is that once he's elected, he's going to go after these food companies and drink companies
Oh
and
yeah.
else that has been poisoning the people here for years, because it's just so amazing when you talk to people that so many people still don't have a clue as to what is really going on out here.
That's right.
They're
Yeah.
living in a state of darkness,
Yeah.
and they need to really wake up. So every chance I get, I spend time trying to talk to people and really wake them up so they would know what's going on.
Well,
And
what?
watching social media and watching these homes and everything that have been destroyed, watching people literally floating down these mudslide
Yeah.
streams on one piece of wood, You know, all of that stuff is like so heartbreaking and it's so
Yeah,
hard to believe. But I also saw that somewhere they were saying that in Chile, which is the largest place producing that lithium, they have
yeah,
the lithium fields and they running out of land to produce it. So
yeah,
what they're trying to do is buy up the farmland in North Carolina to use it for those lithium farms, but they're
yeah,
gonna have a hard time with that because I don't believe that a lot of those people are actually gonna sell their
yeah,
farmland there. But they are looking for places to do those lithium farms because we do know that Kamala and her establishment want to get rid of the gas vehicles and they want all vehicles to be electric. And I mean, I'm someone I don't agree with that. I do not support that because with those lithium batteries, they liable to blow up at any time. Somebody had an accident the other day and the whole vehicle caught on fire and exploded.
wow, wow. Yeah, and then they have the ability to shut those cars down remotely too, which
My
is no
point
good.
exactly.
We remember what happened to Michael Hastings, that journalist that was exposing Michael or John Brennan, that psychopath, and that went after Trump. But this was before he went after Trump. But Michael Hastings was a reporter investigating all kinds of creepy things that John Brennan, who is the CIA director under Obama, was doing. And they showed a video where his car all of a sudden just makes a beeline for a tree, and all of a sudden just starts flying straight down the road in California. I think it was just flying over and bam hits the tree. And then they said it looked like there was an explosion from underneath the car, like pushing the body up. So God knows what in the world they did. That report never came out when he was working on Michael Hastings as it relates to John Brennan and his buddies. So, you know, who knows what they can do with these even newer cars now that have more and more computer, access remote and stuff from the internet. But yeah, I mean that's the thing, is that the folks who run this country seem to have an absolute disgust for the American people, and they don't really want to hide it too much for people who are not kind of in lockstep with their protocols of how they want people to live and think and act and do and behave and eat. And you're right, there's a lot of poisons in the food supply. And 8-year-olds right now are getting diabetes. 8-year-olds are getting colon cancer. How does a 10-year-old or 8-year-old child get colon cancer? That was a disease of older men back in the day. And now it's become so widespread that 10-year-olds are getting it, 8-year-olds getting cancer or getting diabetes at even 5 years old. Diabetic. How do you become diabetic at 5? And,
Mhm.
and it's the same. They'll show you the ingredients of a popular food item like cereal, and they'll show you what it's like in America versus what it's in Europe, and it
Yeah,
looks like
in
all
all
the
of those countries because those
yeah, yeah,
cereal contain those cancer causing
yeah,
dyes.
yeah. And
You
then
know?
over here, it's not just the dyes, they have titanium dioxide, all kinds of, it looks like everything that's a waste product. It's almost like those food companies call up the waste companies and say, "What waste you got that you want us to buy?" They buy it. So yeah, we got this chemical, we got this metal that we've got, from industrial companies. All right, we'll buy it and we'll put it in our food mix. So for our beloved customers here in America. Of course, we'll only put 3 ingredients for the quality, people over in Europe, but over here we're going to make sure we just flood them with everything that that you have as an industrial waste product. And we're going to put it in their food. I mean, the level of hate and psychotic evil you have to just look at this system and say, you know what, I want more of that. I want Kamala Harris to, you know, you know, keep this stuff going. You've got to be literally sick in the head, or insane, or just possessed by evil.
Yeah, especially possessed by evil because the things that they're doing is totally satanic. And also with Kamala, she said that if she's elected, she is going after everybody that has something to say about her before she got elected. So
Yeah,
that's she will be targeting the Magnum. crowd and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
conservative patriots that have been outspoken in fighting for this country, and that would include both of us.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know? So it's so important that we keep her out of that seat. And we
Yeah,
know
you
she's
think?
just a puppet. She's just a puppet. She's not even running it. This will
Yeah,
be another term for Obama, to be quite honest about the
yeah,
whole situation.
yeah. You think that she'll be worse than the Biden era? Probably, I would imagine.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
worse.
yeah.
I mean, look what she did in California for those people that was innocent, and she
Right.
locked them up in prison, knowing that the evidence showed that they wasn't guilty. She didn't care about that.
Yeah,
She kept them for free prison laborers, and also for the parents that she incarcerated that had sick kids that could not attend school.
yeah,
She locked the doggone lady up, knowing that her daughter had sickle cell.
yeah,
Kamala
yeah,
doesn't care. She's ruthless.
yeah,
She's a very ruthless, evil individual. It's just like watching the Purge movie, somebody that's going to sit back and do evil stuff and laugh about it.
yeah,
And look at the fact she's allowing illegals to come into this country. They're flying them from the airports, no ID. We cannot go to the airport and go through anywhere and get in with no ID. So how are they allowing these illegals to come into the airport with no ID? And then they're trying to allow them to vote, to be able to steal our elections.
yeah. And to say, you know, she said, "Oh, well, you didn't pass that new border bill we were going to do. That's what fit." No, it's not. You have all the rules on the book you need to actually stop doing the stupid stuff like you just mentioned of flying these illegals anywhere they want. They give them first class tickets. They give them gift cards when they get to New York City or wherever. They'll pour 20,000 Haitians into a 20,000 town. And then when they tell you, when you complain about our city can't handle this infrastructure, we can't handle this inundation, and then the companies that are hiring the like those Haitian situations in Ohio, they're getting hired by corporations that are getting paid to hire them. So they get to pay the worker less. They get a subsidy from it from the government. So the government's actively trying to displace their own native population, which lets you know that our government is an occupied country. It is not a government that is interested in the people's interests that are actually the native folks who have been here for generations. They have a desire to flood this country to the point where the constitutional freedoms that we understand are completely alien to the majority of the people living in this land. That's what they're trying to do. They want to dumb us down with food, make us sick and infertile with their stupid drugs, and then flood it in millions and millions of people who are the people that the other governments around the world don't want to have in their land. And they pour them in by the millions, and the billionaires are the ones funding it and they're supporting it. And you're right, we're going to be done if they get another 4 years of this mass migration wave like this.
And I also believe there's also a bigger picture here, because if they could get all of those illegals, well, first of all, the ones that I have seen coming into this country, it looks like mostly men that are
Yeah,
like between the age of like 20 to 40 age
yeah,
group. They look like they're in very great shape.
yeah,
So I'm sure they are coming in with a mission. You know, we don't know who these people are.
yeah,
We don't
yeah,
know, and I'm sure they coming for a purpose and a mission.
right.
I'm pretty much sure of that. So eventually they're gonna start trying to run these people for office so they could work on really bringing this place down, really bringing this country down.
Yeah,
That's what they're gonna start working on, putting them in those seats.
yeah, yeah. It's one of those times that we're watching really so many things popping off at the same time. It almost makes you numb to really feel what time it is. Even though we think what time it is, it's hard to truly feel it. You feel it. You feel that there's something in the air, but you can't feel. It's almost like our bodies are protecting us from feeling the full, raw danger of what lurks all around us. Because America still has so much wealth and it has so much comfort because of the ways in which we've learned to get along and learn to work together with our neighbors. we still have this false sense of comfort for what time it is in terms of the dangers that are all around us. We talk about the dollar falling apart. If we continue to have inflation, it's going to be hard for average people to be able to even eat. And that goes to what you do.
And that's
You spend, what's that?
that's taking place right
Yeah.
now. You know, people can't even afford to purchase food. And then we also have the strike with the East Coast.
Yeah. And let me ask you a question, because this is something, and I don't want to get, you know what, you can, share with us what you can, but, you know, when you feed people, you do your work with Curly's house, right? In
Yes.
Miami area. And,
Yes.
you feed people for many years, but you say that there's also a side of people when they're hungry and they get free food that can be ugly. And so it's not like the best of humanity comes out when people are hungry. Sometimes the worst is. And let's talk about that a little bit. How are we going to get to a situation where, what you're dealing with in your community will be times 50 in terms of the amount of people, or times 100 in terms of the amount of people who are hungry without food?
Right. And I think education is the key.
Yeah,
Sometimes you have to talk to people, because when people um have been through so much, they're very angry and hostile.
yeah,
It's not easy. It's not an easy
yeah,
job. They're very angry and hostile. And I always tell people that these type of people are in survival mode.
yeah,
And what is survival mode? Survival mode means that I don't have nowhere to stay. I got 4, 5 kids. I don't know how I'm gonna feed them today. I don't even know where we're gonna stay at. I don't even know how I'm gonna pay my bills. I don't know how I'm gonna pay my light bill, my lights off. And these are situations that I know people that are going through. I know a girl that's
yeah,
27. She has 9 kids. Her lights are off. She's trying to figure out how to pay her light bill. That's what you call survival mode.
yeah,
That's what you call survival mode. So when they come, they are very hostile and angry. They are angry because a lot of times when they go places to try to get help, people get them to run around, take them in circles. So they kind of used to that. So by the
yeah,
time they get to you, they're so angry, broken, and bitter that you really have to talk to them and say, hey, I'm here to help you.
yeah,
I am here to help you. If
yeah,
you allow me to help you, okay? So you got to get their attention first before you even able to help them,
yeah,
and then once you
yeah,
get their attention and you start to talk to them, then they'll get to the point where they say, ma'am, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry, but this is everything that I have been going through, that I
yeah,
have been going through. And I've been doing this for over 2 decades. So, of course, I understand that, people are broken, hurt, disgusted, heartbroken, hungry, and everything else. Especially if you look at the fact that this country is taking care of the illegals, but
yeah,
not American citizens,
yeah,
and and I'm gonna throw this on out there while I'm at it, because people always feel like the Republicans are people that do not want to help the poor or the
yeah,
underserved community. And I always say, hey, I'm a conservative, but I'm here to help you guys. And I understand what you're going through, because a lot of seniors are raising their grandkids and they only get like, so I have served seniors that are getting $60 a month total income and $10 in food stamps, while
goodness,
giving these illegals $15,000 in food stamps in Chicago and $5,000 in a subsidy and a
yeah,
place to stay, cars to drive, and everything else that they need to take care of themselves and families. But American taxpayers that have helped build this country are suffering. A lot of them are suffering. But once again, I thank God for Trump, because when he went to help serve those people that have been devastated by those earthquakes, That's exactly what we all need to be doing, because you have people that are on the left that we are seeing all across social media that are saying, ha good for y'all that y'all house have been destroyed. So that lets you know that these people are total idiots,
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
totally insane idiots that do not know any better,
Yeah.
because the same laugh they get is coming straight back to their door. It's
Yeah.
straight back to them, because nothing is funny about, the hurricane situation. Nothing is funny about people that can't feed themselves, people that don't have a place to stay. And all of these people are not bombs. All
Yeah.
of them are not, bummy people that don't want to work. It's just circumstances and situations
Yeah. Yeah.
that are put in place, and
Like
that's the
inflation,
problem.
you can't even you get a job and the inflation's so high, you still can't afford any place to live or not much to eat. So what are you supposed to do?
What you're supposed to do in a situation like that? I mean, here in Miami, a one bedroom is like $2,000. So if
Yeah.
you got 3 or 4 kids that are
Yeah.
in daycare and you got to pay $200 a week for each one of those kids, how can you make it? Even at $20 or $30 an hour, that's
Yeah.
going to cover those kids' daycare and help you to feed those kids and pay your rent. That's not going to
Yeah.
work.
And now basic groceries cost as much as going out to a fine restaurant. You know what I mean? Just to get to make a meal with basic groceries, unless you eat the dog food that they sell us. If you eat the cheap foods like the modified grains and the modified corn and the cornstarch and the seed oil food, you can kind of barely survive. Maybe even not on that you can, but you can kind of make it somewhat if you have a job. But if you want to eat real foods like we used to do for many years, it's very difficult to do with this level of inflation for home and gas. And of course they've tried to reduce the gas price temporarily right now to try to sucker stupid people in to vote for Kamala, but they'll raise it right back up once they get in office again if they win,
Of
because
course
they'll
they
be able.
will. And Trump
Yeah.
here already told them that if
Yeah.
she wins, your light bill would double.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your light bill would double.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you concerned that there's going to be a total reckoning going on in terms of the people uh, getting violent, or do you think that we're going to be able to find a non-violent, peaceful solution to all this stuff that we're seeing?
You talking about so far as when they kind of get food?
Well, yeah, just in
But
general,
we
because
always,
yeah,
the thing about it, we always have situations.
yeah,
But like I said, before we start our line, I always talk to the people because I do
yeah,
mine a little different.
yeah.
We do not do the drive-by with the boxes. We have shopping carts out, and they can
Okay,
go through and pick out what they want to eat.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
totally different. We're feeding people with dignity. I don't want to give people stuff that they don't eat. I don't want to give them stuff that's not in their
yeah,
diet. A lot of people have health problems and maybe they
yeah,
can't eat certain things. So we give out a lot of fresh vegetables and personal care items. We have Pampers for the babies, milk for the babies, sometimes even clothing for the babies. And God is still in the miracle working business. And you know, he is still opening doors and he's still making a way out of no way. So long as they come through and we got strength in our body here, we're gonna continue to feed them people with dignity and give them food and not just a frozen chicken, give them a variety of meat or whatever it is that we have, you
yeah.
know, to help them.
That's awesome. So uh, do you ever have a person who was mean to you online? Because I know you've got very large following, and most of your people are positive and support you. But if you guys ever want to see the nastiness of the left, go look at the comment section of Lavern Spicer's X, because you'll see most of it again positive. But when the liberals show up, they say the nastiest stuff you could ever think of, and they do it all the time. But do you ever have those people who say nasty stuff to you online, and they come and get a meal from you?
I have never seen
Yeah,
one person
yeah,
show up because
yeah,
once again, they already know. As my
yeah,
husband would say, everybody know who to play with. Okay.
yeah,
My husband always say everybody knows who to play with. Okay. And I'm out in the streets with, I mean, it's like, if even if they show up, let me tell you something. If you come playing around with people food, I'm sure you would get jumped out there by a group of people that say you're not doing this you're not doing to these people that are helping us. They would get jumped. Okay.
Yeah.
People know who is helping them, and nobody's going to stand up for this foolishness. As long as I was a Democrat, I never got called one name. Not one. Not one name, y'all. But soon as and let me tell you something, in 2020, when I ran for Congress, for District 24 in Miami, when I ran for Congress, the name calling began. And I took the hits. I took them hits. I got called every name in the book. In the book, I got called every name. By those liberals. By the liberals. But now, the great thing about it is that so many Black people are stepping up to support Trump because we're tired of the lies from the Democratic Party. We're tired of being deceived. We're tired of the broken promises. We're tired of our communities looking like crap. We're tired of not getting the resources that we need. So why not give somebody else a chance? Because we know we have been getting lied to from the Democratic Party for years. For years. Yeah. And I was on the front line of waking people up.
Yeah, you were early, and look at the revolution that you've helped kickstart, because.
And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that, Dave. And I'm
you were early.
proud of when people inbox me, and you know what they say, Lavern, I was so afraid to speak up. I was so afraid to fight. But every time I watch you give me the strength. Make that step. And that's what I'm want to see. And that's something that helps to encourage me to keep going and keep pushing. Because that stuff that the liberals say, the comments, I could care less about that. I mean, that's like throwing some dirt at the wall. That's going to bounce off. I don't even care. I don't even care when they come on my live to say it. And I go live every Thursday at 3 p.m. I'm live on my Twitter page. That's at Lavern Spicer. On my Twitter page, I'm live. And when they come up there with that, they trust and believe. I give them the whole business.
Do they call in, or they just send their little messages on text?
No, they can send their little message right there, and I'm gonna call them right on out.
They don't have the guts to call you up, even on
no,
a phone
they ain't gonna do that. They not. I only have one that was doing that. And she
on the show.
Look, the lady called about 7. Now this I'm living rent free in this heifer head. Okay, this chick called like 10 times, and she said, "This is Netflix, and we would like to interview Lavern Spicer." I'm calling from Netflix. And she was lying. It wasn't Netflix. Okay, so I was in the office the next time the phone rang. So she says, "Oh, I just called because I want to know. Trump is a racist, and I want to know, why is Lavern Spicer a racist and a white supremacist?" Now, Dave, you see me in person. You know I'm Black, and I'm Black all day, and I've been Black all my life. Now, I became a white supremacist. I don't know. So I let this lady have it. So then she decided to cuss me out in Spanish, right? But she knows it was somebody in my office that speaks Spanish, and she let her have it. So then she hung up the phone. So she told before she hung up, she told me she was coming to Miami to whoop my butt, and I told her I'd be right there waiting on her.
And then after you done whooped her and she's settled down and she's repented, you'll give her a free meal if she needs it.
Yeah, right? I think about it. Yeah, I think about it. But next time she'll know. Don't even think about it, lady. Just keep going. I wouldn't even advise you to try it. I wouldn't even advise you to try it, lady. Trust and believe. I wouldn't advise you to do that.
Yeah, but you really, and you don't get enough credit too, because there's a lot. I'm gonna just say this. I don't want to name any names, but there's a lot of people who got credit for, waking up this exodus out of the Democrat Party by the Black community. But they've taken the credit and they've grifted, made money, and moved on to something else. But you haven't. You deserve more credit for what you've done to be a founding catalyst. You're one of the influencers that'll go down in history. To change the game. One day they're going to look back at how the party's changed and all this stuff. I mean, you're part of that story for sure for the rest of history.
Yeah, and
And you're still a part of it. There work's still to be done, but I'm just saying, you've already done a lot, and it needs to
I
be
have
said.
always been a fighter, and I used to have a lot of little foster kids. I used to help them, and used to always fight for those kids.
Yeah,
So I've been an advocate all my life fighting for the underserved people,
you stand
and
up for the underdog. Yeah,
that's just something I got plenty of energy for. I could do that all day and all night because like I said, I understand the challenges that they go through.
yeah,
It's easy to point fingers at people that are going through, but you never know what somebody is going through if you don't stay in their house.
that's
Like I
right.
have
Yeah,
a friend, my friend is like, I think this girl like maybe 40 something years old.
uh-huh,
She's taking care of her mother. Her mother has Alzheimer's.
uh-huh.
She has three brothers that are blind that she's taking care of.
Golly.
She has two autistic kids that
Good.
she's taking care of. All of them, most of them are in the same home. Okay.
I mean, she's like Florence Nightingale. She's taking everybody's issues on at the same time.
So
God.
it's a lot of people out here
Yeah,
that's like that. They're
yeah,
not complaining. They're just making it do what it does. Okay. So you can't never point a finger at a person when you don't know what their situation is. So when I hear
right.
people talk about things like, oh, would you take away welfare? You don't know. If you take away welfare, a lot of people wouldn't be able to survive. Everybody
That's
on
right. Yeah,
it's not lazy.
yeah,
A lot of these people are taking care of their elderly parents and their
yeah,
kids that are, like I say, autistic and have all kind of other uh, health issues. A lot of them may be sickle cell. Some of them are sick
yeah,
cancer and all type of stuff. So you don't
yeah.
know. Each case is different. So
And
it's not
I
even
do think a lot of those.
fair to judge people
Yeah,
because one thing about it, I don't care if you rich, staying in your multi-million-dollar mansion. We all got, and I see a lot of people that are staying in their multi-million-dollar mansion, have a beautiful family,
yeah,
brand new cars in the driveway, and they committing suicide.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it's something going on everywhere.
Yeah,
Everybody got their
money
own
doesn't solve
issues.
problems. Money doesn't solve all your problems. It's got to be something else that you got to have the peace that passes all understanding. And you're certainly not going to find that at a P Diddy party, for example, where everybody's got money, but there's a lot of danger going around. You know what I mean? So we don't understand what the wealthy go through in their own turmoil. They seem to be oftentimes more unhappy in some things, on some ways, because more money, more problems, more. If you don't, that doesn't mean money is evil. It just means that if you paper over your problems by trying to get more money and not changing your heart or your spiritual reality, then none of that's going to really improve your situation. It'll just make it more complicated.
You know what,
You know?
Dave? One thing we both have, and we are very wealthy because we have the love of God in our hearts, and that's gives
Yeah,
you all the wealth that you need. Because one thing about it, I don't care what my situation is, I'm gonna go through it with God because I know He's
yeah,
a way maker, and He's gonna make a way out of no way. You
yeah,
know, and that's the difference. When it comes to dealing with situations and dealing with different things,
yeah,
so, some people have a situation and they just lose it and go crazy. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. But
yeah.
I don't care what the situation is. I know, and I believe the Bible that says all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord.
Right. That's right. That's so true. And that's the key to everything is finding God through all the midst of this chaos and finding opportunities for you to be a blessing. I saw someone who was a person who was homeless, and they had an opportunity to run a church shelter where people with disasters would not be able to have a place to stay. They could come to that shelter during the storm if their house was damaged. And this homeless person, I could see that she was so happy that God had given her finally a ministry where she could bless people and make sure, as the hostess of the shelter, everybody was taken care of. So it doesn't matter what your situation, even if you have, 10 kids and you're sick, you can still be a minister yourself. And sometimes that's the best medicine to start figuring out how to serve other people, even though you feel down and out. Find a way to bless someone by a smile or something. Kind gesture in the day is all it takes to save people's souls sometimes.
Because that's where your blessings are going to come from.
Yeah.
Sometimes when God take us through a lot in our life, that's so we could grow up to be strong. And that's going to make you very strong. So when those storms come, you'll be able to withstand those storms, And with the work that I do and have been doing all of my life, I have helped so many people. I can't even tell you how many people I have helped. I can't even tell you how many lives I have saved. I can't even tell you how many people I have stopped from going to jail, from doing something stupid, committing those little small crimes like people do when they go to the store and steal food because they hungry.
Yeah.
They can come here and get the food, and if they hungry, we'll warm them up something to eat. But so a lot of times when I meet these people, I may not remember them, but they always remember me, and they say, "Hey, Miss Lavern, you helped me when I was going through, and now I'm doing great. I got my own business. I'm doing well in life, and I give all of that glory to God.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for nothing in return. I give all that glory to God. Let him get the victory. Long as he getting the glory and the victory, I'm good.
That's
I'm
great.
just a servant, and I will continue to serve and do what I need to do to make sure that people in my neighborhood, in this area, and I do mean, when I say my neighborhood, I'm talking about the whole county, okay?
Yeah.
Because I don't care where you come from. I'm not going to say you're not in my zip code. I'm not going
Right.
to serve you. No, I'm going to help you. As long as we got the food here, you can get it. That won't even be the issue.
That's awesome. That's Curly's house. And how can people get involved with Curly's house and support it? I just want people to know if they want to learn more about Vance, especially.
While right now we coming into November with Give Miami Day, but you can always check us out. Our website is down right now, but if you would like to donate, you can donate through our email, which is I will send you my email, and you can put that email.
Okay.
They can donate through PayPal.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll put that in there.
And I'm going to send the email address.
That'd be great. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, Lavern. And, you got to come out to one of these wrestling shows sometimes. I think you'll have a lot of fun.
I would love to.
We'll put something together in the near future when you're available, your schedule. So I really appreciate you coming out, and keep doing the Lord's work that you're doing in your community, and, doing what you do on a global basis online with your very large social media presence that you've been able to be blessed with because of the work you've done. So I thank you for coming on, and we'll talk again soon.
Okay, thank you, and have a great day. And everybody out there, keep your head up. Don't give up. Keep the faith. It's a fight. It's a battle, but we got to do this.
Lavern Spicer, everyone. It's always great to have her on, and want you to support her work and follow her on Twitter and X and see what she's all about. Great person. Take care.
Thank you.